Hey everyone, Faith of faithcarol.com here, wanting to talk a little bit about the astrological time we find ourselves in this celestial moment. So the kind of work I do focuses on embodied astrology and archetypal astrology. It assumes that you have free will, in that the planets are living beings that are in dialogue with us all the time and that we can connect with. And it focuses on the planets instead of the signs and houses, though I love me the signs and the houses, nothing wrong with signs and the houses. This is just a different approach. So today we're going to talk about Jupiter, Uranus. So in the sky right now, Jupiter and Uranus are both in Taurus, and they are conjunct, which means they are next to each other, conjoined, and it's a new moon position. When two planets are right at the new moon, the sun and the moon are right next to each other, which is why we cannot see the moon. And so conjunctions are the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. This is a 13-year cycle that we are in. And it's an opportunity for all of us to begin again around the archetypal themes that Jupiter and Uranus represent in our psyches. We all have Jupiter and Uranus within us, and they represent aspects of our multiple selves, parts of how we see the world, perspectives, how we experience things, the needs that we have. Yes, right. We are all multiple beings. And the reason I love astrology is because it's an ancient form of psychology that so beautifully represents our multipleness. In a world that demands we be single and perfect, that we be mini versions of a monotheistic God, it's so refreshing to have systems that present our complexity. So, let me look at my notes here. So the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, again, other astrologers may tell you that this is only like 2 months. This is a few days. They have different lens. They're paying attention to different phenomena. And so the phenomena that I'm paying attention to is very big picture. It's big filter. It's spiritual, it's psychological, it's archetypal, it's pattern-based. The minute, like really daily expressions of this conjunction might only be experienced or really be experienced for smaller periods of time than what I am sharing. But the larger spiritual process that the collective is going through because of this transit is happening in this larger container. And so again, I always say this, right? Transits, they aren't a switch you turn on and off. It's a lot subtler than that. But basically, it started June 9th of 2023, and it's going to end in July 14th of 2024. This is affecting all of us. We are all part of the collective. This is in the sky right now, and it's the water that we're all swimming in. We're seeing this in the world. It's affecting our politics. It's affecting our food. It's affecting the weather. It's affecting our experiences of each other. It's affecting what art is being produced and coming into the collective right now. It's affecting everything. Now, it's going to especially affect you if you have any planets or angles in the fixed signs in Taurus, in Aquarius, in Leo, or in Scorpio. It's gonna, if you have, if you have planets or angles in any of those signs, no matter where they are, those houses, those signs, everything involved there is like extra charged and lit up by this dynamic. But it's especially going to affect you if you have planets or angles from 14 to 30 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Now, folks who have planets or angles in earth signs, in Virgo, in the other earth signs, Taurus is an earth sign, in Virgo or Capricorn, you're also going to be feeling this more than someone who doesn't have any planets or angles in any of the places that I mentioned, like maybe you have everything in Pisces, this won't affect you as much. But folks with planets or angles in between 14 and 30 degrees, Virgo and Capricorn, you're also going to be especially tuned into this energy. But for people with planets and angles in the fixed signs, this is going to be this conjunction, and we're going to talk about the meaning of it. It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you. The universe and your own psyche are going to give you opportunities to grow, to be challenged, to come to grips with your own relationships to these archetypal dynamics. Whereas if you have planets or angles in the earth signs, in Virgo or Capricorn, it might be a more flowing experience for you. It might be a little easier. It might be more integrative, and it might be more of an experience of it might be easier for you to like hold a little perspective and not get as swallowed. So I'm going to explain what all this means. And so if you need to come back to this part of the video to be like, wait, how does this apply to me? That's okay. Okay, I'm just looking at my notes. So this started in June 9th of 2023. I said it ends in July 14th of 2024. And in that time, it's coming in and out because Uranus and Jupiter, they began the conjunction at 15 degrees away from each other, very loose, but that's the kind of math we use in this type of astrology. And then they begin to retrograde, and they move back and forth and back and forth. And so there's going to be moments where this is very intense and it apexes, and there's going to be moments where it, flows a little bit more. And I'm just going to take a minute and make sure, because I didn't write it down, the exact dates of when this is going to get very intense. So March, April, and May of 2024 are when this conjunction is going to be exact. You're going to be hearing more astrologers talk about this at that time, but it won't be fully over archetypally until July. Okay, so what does this mean? Now, the thing that if you've ever watched my videos or you subscribe to my newsletter, the thing that you know is that I really believe that we each have our own experience and relationship with the stars, and that we live out these placements, whether or not you know the new moon is in Leo, or whether or not you know cognitively, it is happening in your life. And the beautiful thing about astrology is it gives you an archetypal framework to understand these spiritual and psychological patterns that are expressing, which can be really empowering and liberating. And it can help you be like, oh, wait, maybe I want to make a different choice here. Maybe I don't need to get as activated about this as I am. And actually, I just need to take care of myself. Or it can just give you some agency and choice. But either way, it's happening. And you are participating actively in it. But the more conscious we are of ourselves, the more we get out of celestial placements and what's the events. But the more, the more aware we are, but also astrology helps us in that path to consciousness, to being more aware. Thank you, astrology. But so, I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter. For those of you who know me, I tend to be, I'm like, let's use all the space. Let's say all the words. So it's not always the most accessible. So we're not going to do a full meditation in this video, I think. There'll be another video where we do the meditation. But I do encourage you to just take a minute, put your feet on the ground, take a few deep breaths. Say thank you for this day, wherever you're at, however grumpy or excited or dysregulated or connected you feel. And welcome Jupiter and Uranus into your heart. You can welcome them in their most benevolent, wise forms. You can welcome them as you experience them, just asking to have knowledge. How is it that I experience these? The best way to know how it is that you experience a planet, how you experience a part of your psyche, um, is just to ask in meditation. This is what I do in my meditations. I'll either ask, like, can I have an experience today that helps me to understand this planet or this planetary combination? Or I'll just ask in the meditation to be shown, which is what we do in the meditations. But again, we're not doing that yet. So don't worry, that'll be available when I post this video. There'll also be a meditation available. There'll be a link below. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion. We often think of Jupiter as a planet of luck, but it is only lucky if the thing it is expanding is already kind of like good and going, it's like on your side, going in your direction. If what it's expanding is your capacity to manipulate or your tendency to give in to bullies, well, that's not going to be that awesome of an experience. So, it's really important to remember that Jupiter's core principle is expansion. And so whatever it expands, yes, it is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so and whatnot. So Jupiter is also Zeus. When we think of Jupiter, we think of beliefs. We think of, the philosopher, the alchemist, the linguist, the one who the learning of languages is very Jupiterian. Anything that expands our worldview, expands our vision. Jupiter is the mountaintop. It's going to the mountaintop and being able to see, look down below, like, oh my God, I have the big picture view right now. And the kind of ebullience and wonder and connection that happens from that place when you have the big picture. So Jupiter is associated with religion, our beliefs, our hopes, our dreams, and Uranus has a very similar energy. These two are very connected, and Uranus is in ancient mythology is the father of it's the one who comes before Saturn and Jupiter. He is Jupiter's grandfather, but in the kind of astrology if I study, we believe Uranus is the only incorrectly named planet. He should have been named for Prometheus, the Titan, because Uranus is a planet of liberation and change. Uranus is like, I see this bondage and I banish it. I break it apart. I don't care. I don't care about rules. Jupiter still cares about rules. That's why, right? Philosophy, religion, language, these are things that expand your vision, but within the binds of rules. Languages have rules. Philosophy, I studied philosophy. My husband's a philosopher. Philosophy has rules, let me freaking tell you. And religions, we all know religions have a lot of rules. We're not talking about like pure spirituality here. We're talking about like, I believe this, and I have this conviction about this, right? It can get a little rigid, a little dogmatic. And Uranus, right? Planet of change. Uranus is like such a big picture vision that we are literally in space. Uranus is the planet of astrology, of the stars, and they're both associated with travel and both associated with luck and gambling. And so this is like a total gambler's transit. The first thing to understand about this transit is there's going to be a lot of things that change this year. And especially if, right, I said it's going to affect you the most if you have planets in these signs, in these degrees. But in general, there's going to be some new lifeblood flowing into the collective belief systems. There's going to be beliefs that we've held for a really long time that are going to very suddenly change. With Uranus, it is always a shocking, sudden change. It's lightning. It's like, it was like this, and now it's just not like that. It's just suddenly, utterly different. So, when I say this is a gambler's transit, I do not mean if thou art a gambler, that your luck is going to really go well. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about astrology. It doesn't actually predict things. It's just like, it's like, if you're a gambler, that impulse, that urge might really get more intense during this time. And you're going to get an opportunity to look at it and be like, where is this actually coming from? Is this just easy and fun and like playing the world, like holding things lightly and just allowing yourself to play the game of life? Is that where this is coming from? Is this coming from a place of needing to manipulate others, control situations, escape, whatever? I don't know. I don't know. Only you're going to know. But it's just going to make that more intense. It's a time where if you have that tendency to kind of like take risks, to be a risk taker, it might intensify right now. And if there's places in your life where you haven't been taking risks, where you've been very rigid, where you've been dogmatic and you're like, no, this is the only way, I only want to see things like this, there might be a lot of stuff being thrown at you from the universe being like, no, it's a lot bigger than that. It's a lot weirder than that. It's a lot more complicated than that. And again, you have the option to continue being like, no, 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 or to see and accept and honor and accept the invitation to change. Because when Uranus is involved, we're always being asked to change. With Jupiter there, you're going to be asked to hold an even bigger vision, a bigger understanding of how the world works and what is true for you and the person that you want to be. I will give an example from my life. Both my partner and I are very intensely influenced by this transit. It is on my moon, it is on his ascendant, and we have exploded our lives. Our lives were exploded, but we accepted it. We were like, okay, our lives are exploded, and we packed up all of our stuff and we decided to travel. Jupiter, Uranus. Jupiter is the explorer. Uranus is just like chaos, bring me chaos. And we've been trying to roll with the chaos, this chaos we've been invited into, and trying to accept the gifts we're in, trying to accept it's like, oh, we're not going to know where we're going to land for a while with, and there's other transits for us too, but with this archetypal energy of change, of threshold, of being in between things, we're just not going to be able to know. And it's very uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. And this kind of transit asks you, what is your relationship with change? What do you believe to be true that you don't want to change because it fundamentally threatens you and your sense of safety and your sense of well-being? I'm feeling the like, oh, that is so true. And you get to respond as authentically as is true for you. You get to, let me tell you, I've been kicking and screaming a lot of this way. I've been like, fine, I will leave, but I hate it. Fine, I will change, but let it be, on the record, I'm lodging a complaint. And that's fine. That's me being authentically myself while also holding myself open. I'm trying to like be in that middle place. And the gifts we are receiving are great. And Jupiter, Uranus, if you are really rigid or maybe have been really stuck, it can be very unpleasant because the things that come up asking you to change, this is stuff that keeps you safe in the world and keeps you safe as you navigate that space between yourself and the other, like in the big scary world. And this world is scary right now. Like, I think we can all agree. And I really believe that when the world is scary, the invitation is to look at ourselves and be like, oh, that I am the world. All that is violent and intense and complex and beautiful and wild and hard and disgusting that is in the world is also within me. And I can still love myself and find it in me to love the world. And we are being given this year to shake ourselves up a bit, change some beliefs, change some perspectives, because we have already begun a very long transit that will define this decade, that will define the 2020s, which is Uranus in a trine in a 120-degree angle with Pluto. And when Uranus and Pluto get together, there is big evolutionary radical change. The unconscious, all of that which we have repressed and denied and smushed down gets wrenched up. I just think of the volcanoes in Iceland right now. just like all the earthquakes, right? It's like the Earth, Pluto is being shaken and we are being asked to wake up. And this, I don't have my notes for this transit in front of me, but I think it's going right until the end, like 2029, 2030. So it's really going to define the next 6 years. And this is a gentle, harmonious transit, gentle, harmonious. But again, if you haven't been doing your work, or if you're part of like a nation, a country that is really good at repressing and denying its history and its own capacity for violence and harm, and obsessed with its a version of itself where it's only good and pure, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And so this, to me, this 1 year transit of Uranus and Jupiter feels like a gift. It feels like the universe being like, okay, have your fun, kids, get your kicks, like have a good time, take some risks, get out there a little bit, because what is next is unknown and unknowable. There's like Pluto is that which is in the unconscious, is that which is unknowable. And so yes, we can be like, oh, every time Uranus and Pluto get together, we see revolution. I mean, that is the transit that defined the 60s. It was in a different place and it was a conjunction, which is more powerful, but it's still important. And there's an opportunity for us to begin to integrate and step towards actually living out our values. So this to me is it's the appetizer to that transit. So in this time, over this next year, we are going to see groups of people, governments, collectives, whoever, artists, art, that expands our way of thinking. It challenges our constricted, narrow perception. And the greatest danger of a transit like this is overconfidence, over recklessness, like taking it too far, right? Being like putting it all on red. Hold that tension between being open to change and not being overconfident or over reckless. And that can be hard. And part of this is learning how to forgive yourself when you make mistakes, when you think you've got this, when you think this is the right choice, and then it's wrong. And also part of this, and I really think this is very true for both Jupiter and Uranus, is like really developing trust in yourself and in the world, like trusting this process, trusting what's happening, even when it's weird and scary and confusing. So I realized as I was preparing for this, I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek, and my husband was never into it. And then I realized, like, oh, it's so Uranus Jupiter that's what we're watching right now, because Jupiter is exploring, Uranus is the stars, and Star Trek is a show where literally it's about exploring the stars and bringing and holding higher ideals, right? Like Star Trek, they're so above our modern society. They don't have money. Everyone has healthcare. It's like preposterous. In the Federation, they value diplomacy and debate, they're instead of war and whatever, blah blah. And I was like, oh, of course this is what we're watching. And the reason we're watching it is because it is the only thing. And we're watching a lot of the old stuff, which is very slow, and a lot of it's kind of boring in the perfect way. And it allows us to connect in with like some hope. When I got my husband into it, he was like, oh my God, this is the first thing I've watched in a really long time that makes me feel like maybe there's hope for the future. And so real, which is why I love Star Trek. Anyway, I'm a nerd. But again, I think things like this, art like this, is going to really make an impact on us right now. And getting in touch with that vulnerability, getting in touch with the part of you who wants things to be different, who wants there to be change, who knows it doesn't have to be like this, who knows that oppression and hierarchy and control and shame or blame or me versus them, that these ideas, that that we are capable of something else. We are getting our big vision right now. We're going past the mountain, through the clouds, into the stars, and we're like, I can see it all. I can see it all. But the thing about spiritual psychological processes is that when you have those moments, those high, beautiful, big moments, and you can see everything, then you need to integrate them. And so you get pulled back into the realm of matter, and it is heavy and it is hard. And you need to integrate that belief, that promise, that possibility in this world with seeds and soil and months, if not years, of tending and plowing and ripping out weeds, and going really into this metaphor. But it takes time, and it takes a lot of work. And we're getting the big vision, and after that we're going to be asked to begin doing the work and understanding whenever Pluto is involved. It's like, we don't just do this work for ourselves. We do this work for the future. We do this work so that there is a planet for the descendants, even though right now it feels kind of hard to imagine that there's going to be a planet for me. And if hopefully I live to a good old age, it feels like we're going to all be living in spaceships. But holding that hope of like, no, we're making these choices for the future. And probably what's gonna be happening is, as we already beginning to see, a lot of consequences are coming in. Uranus Jupiter isn't all fun and good. It's like, well, if you have that bigger vision, can be really seeing into yourself, like, that's the worst. We all hate that. So remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to be gentle to yourself. It's just life. I really hold with like, this is a dream that we're all dreaming together, and it doesn't make it any less real. Gosh darn, do I know this is real. And I think that remembering it's real is really important. I'm not into transcendence. But it's also a dream that we get to dream together. And if we are too hard on ourselves, we go into control mind, and it becomes really hard to create the changes that we really want to see. So hold that Uranus Jupiter within you, that capacity to have fun while you create change, to be the weirdo at your corporate meeting, to be the one who's like, why are we having this meeting in our skyscraper? Let's go outside to the park and eat donuts and smoothies. I don't know. While we have this meeting, like, let's change it up so that we can get new perspectives. Because those of us who have access to power, even if that's just because you're part of a very privileged society, are going to be asked to really create some big changes soon. So let's start now. I don't know. I hope this all makes sense. These are just my thoughts. These are just some thoughts preparing you for now. And I encourage you to think about what has happened since June of this year. Think about the ways in which you've changed, the ways in which you've faced instability, the beliefs that you had that were like settled, the ways they've been asked to grow and expand, or like really shift focus, or again, just change. And you might be surprised at all you can see. Again, if you have any planets or angles, especially the ascendant, especially the sun or the moon, but also Mercury, Venus, Mars, between 14 and 30 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, like you're going to be like, oh yeah, I am being asked ridiculous things. Weird stuff is happening, sudden changes, nothing like I expected. And so often we think we know what it is we want and what it'll look like when we get it. And transits like this so often show us like, babe, you're not dreaming big enough. And what you experience as punishment, this change, is like, it's the gift to help you to get to a place where you can hold as much, the capacity to receive as much as the universe has to give to you. But to do that, you gotta let go of your control. And I love controlling things personally. So It's the worst. But I hope that is helpful for y'all. Please feel free to ask questions down in the comments, or if you're like, I really want to understand how this is affecting me. My books are currently open, very spotty right now, but they are open. And I would love to chat with you and find the way that the stars are expressing and inviting you in your own life. That is the most exciting thing in the world to me. As always, be gentle with yourself, breathe deeply, drink lots of water, and remember that you're just human. And what a gloriously imperfect thing to be. Subscribe to this channel, blah, if you're into doing that kind of thing. I am trying to grow it. I am trying to do more videos, and you can subscribe to my newsletter if you're interested, at faithcarroll.com. That's where you get the news. I haven't sent out a newsletter in a while, so but I will soon. And that's where you get the news. That's where you get information about sales, new offerings, new content, and you also just get to witness my own journey of trying to be a spiritually conscious person in a beautiful, mad world. So just wishing you all the best. Take care.